Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. It's time for another episode, and today it's all about cooking haggis. That Scottish wonderful ingredient. I absolutely love it, and I've got two incredible recipes for you to try today. Right, before we get started cooking, just a quick message. All our recipes in 2025 are going to be incorporated into our weekly newsletter. So if you go to petersidwell.com, sign up for the newsletter, and then it will be automatically emailed to your inbox while you're watching this on a Saturday morning if you're watching live. So go to the website, sign up, and we'll send you the recipes. Right, haggis. So first recipe, haggis empanada. So we're going from Scotland and we're nipping to South America, and we're going to make these wonderful buttery, crisp empanadas filled with this peppery delight, which is haggis. So pastry first. I've got 200 grams of plain flour, and then I want 125 grams of butter, which is dead easy because it's half a block, okay? So what are your thoughts on haggis, Carlos?
I love haggis.
Do you? That may well be why Emily's chosen not to edit this video today, because not a haggis fan yet. I feel we can convert her. So, half a block of butter, 125 grams. Just get your fingertips in, and just, the thing with like pastry is, and this is just a type of pastry, use your fingertips. What you don't want to do is melt the butter. You want to just use your fingertips and rub the butter into the flour until you get like a crumble texture, okay? So just keep using it. If you want, you could chuck this in the food processor, blitz it, and you'd be done in 10 seconds, all right? So it's up to you. I can't bother to watch the food processor, so I'm doing it by hand. So just, you see that? Yep. Just rub it, and just keep going until you get all the buttery lumps that are incorporated. So did you always wonder what haggis was? Because there's a bit of a mystery about it, isn't there?
Yeah, I kind of knew it.
Yeah.
But could you just tell us?
Had you heard of it before you came to England?
No, never.
No. So you've not even heard of it?
The first time I had haggis, it was my first time in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And it was like, I see haggis, like, oh, haggis. I was like,
Some people think it's a wild animal.
No.
Like when I was working in hotels, American tourists would come over to York, and they were on their way to Edinburgh, and we'd tease them saying that, oh yeah, you going haggis hunting? Get yourself a gun and go haggis hunting.
I thought it was more like a black pudding sausage.
Yeah.
Slightly.
No, yeah. So it's all about lamb. So it's made from lamb. So it is, unfortunately, you might not want to know what it is, but it is heart, lungs, and liver. So it's all about the offal. And it's mixed up with pepper and oatmeal, and then it's put into a lamb's stomach and boiled, which sounds absolutely revolting, but it tastes so good. It is really, really nice, and you can get it all over now. Can you see now? Look how fine that is. That's just, you'd think you were going to pour that on top of a lot of apples to make a crumble, but we're not. We're going to make a pastry. So, make a little well in the middle, 1 egg straight in, and that's going to give us a richness, and then a little bit of water. Just add a little bit, like literally a tablespoon, and then we can always add a bit more if we need it. And then just grab a metal spoon and just mix the egg and the water together, and then start to bring it together. Once you've incorporated it, then a little bit more water and get your hands in. I always sort of put my hand like that, like a claw, and just roll it around the bowl until you get like a soft ball of dough form. Okay. And then just sort of scrunch it up. Now, these are going to be sort of freestanding empanadas. Now, empanadas are sort of South American, but in this country we have Cornish pasties, you know, so they're not too dissimilar. Similar idea. I always find it quite amazing that like you can go all around the world and then there's synergies and similarities in the way that we deliver food. You know, empanada sounds a bit posher than a Cornish pasty, but they're both good. So, because they're going to be sort of folded over and they're going to hold the filling, you need to knead this dough a little bit more than you would if you were just making a really beautiful pastry to line a tin. You want to develop the gluten a little bit. So we're just going to knead it for about 10-15 seconds, and that'll just help it be a bit tougher and a bit more robust, I think is probably the right word. And it means it'll hold the filling in, okay? Okay, so if you make sure the dough is correct in its texture, you should be able to do this. I haven't got any flour on the worktop. I'm just kneading it and working it. And then all I'm going to do is pop this in the fridge now, let it rest while we get the filling done. Right, so get myself a chopping board. I've got a mixing bowl here. I'm just going to pop that there for now. I've got cooked potato and I've got haggis. So this is about a 450 gram piece. I want half of it, okay? So I'm just going to cut. Doesn't matter what haggis you use, it's probably what can you get is most important. And I'm just going to cut this out of its skin. Okay, now haggis is fully cooked when you get it from the shops. So all we're going to do is we're just going to break it up like that. But you can kind of see the oatmeal in there. It smells peppery. It's good. Am I selling it to you, Emily? No. Oh dear. Right, okay. Now we've got some cooked potatoes here, just some from leftovers. Can be little mini jacket potatoes, it can be boiled potatoes, it could be roast potatoes. I don't think it really matters. And I'm just going to remove the skins. And I'm not going to do too much to these. We're just going to get the potatoes out of the skins, add them to the haggis, and then get going. Okay. Now remember, if you've got any questions at all, please do post them in the comments below. And if you want the recipes, like I said earlier, sign up for our newsletter and we'll just deliver them straight to you. Every week we do a newsletter ready for the program. Both recipes will be in there and then links. And on our website, petersidwell.com, we've got other recipes, bits and bobs. You can get our books, signed books, things like that. So get the newsletter. Right. So, potatoes done. Let's get rid of those skins. We don't need those. And then all I'm going to do is just break them up like that. Okay? You could add neeps and tatties if you want, which is the traditional way to serve with haggis. You don't just have to have potatoes. These are the tatties. You can also have neeps, which is the turnip. Are you a turnip or a Swede? Oh, there's a question.
Turnip, I think.
Is it turnip or Swede? Oh, that's messing with Emily's mind, that now. Oh, that's going to keep her up tonight.
We call it carrot and turnip. We have like mashed carrot and turnip.
Don't you call it carrot and Swede? See, my parents are from the south, so I get a little bit confused by the whole thing. I don't know what's what.
Then I would pop a spoon. Turnip.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know.
Quick, ask Mum. Right. This pastry, this is our empanada dough. So this is rested, chilled, and ready to roll. Okay? So a little bit of flour on the worktop. Let's get a rolling pin out. And then I've got my pastry cutters. Okay? So I'm going for the biggest cutter, I think. Biggest cutter. Do you know what? I think we're going to go bigger. Go bigger. Okay? I'll measure that. And I will put the measurement on the recipe. Okay? So now you need the newsletter, don't you? Okay, so let's roll this out. You can also do sweet empanadas as well, like cherry pie filling with apple. That's nice. Bit of mascarpone, so it's kind of got the cream inside it. Or if you have any custard left, put custard and then like diced apple in there or something like that. Or if you've got any mince pie filling, you can chuck them in there. We did mince pie empanadas once, didn't we? Empanadas is such a great way to just use up leftovers. Good for packed lunches, because you can freeze them. So all we're going to do now is we're just going to simply cut them out, okay? So cut as many as you can on your first round of rolling out. because that will always be the best pastry. Okay, so I've got 6 out of those. So let's just move those over there. Okay, and let's just grab this dough. We'll probably get another couple more out of this, easy. Yeah. Okay, so I have got 10 empanadas out of that, okay? So all I need now is 1 egg, and we're just going to brush the edges. Now, I always brush them first, because I think it's easier than trying to then brush around the filling, okay? Can we see these all right overhead, or do you need me to bring them in, Carlos?
You can bring them in slightly.
Yeah,
Better.
I certainly can. So let's bring them all in. Okay. Right, so, bit of beaten egg. Only brush half of the pastry, okay? Because if you brush it all the way around, the 2 parts, the 2 folds, will just sort of slip. So it'll kind of do that because of the egg mixture. Whereas if you just do it on one side, the dry side will touch the wet side and it'll stick, okay? Right, there we go. So, all we need to do now is just, I like to use my hands and just take a little piece of each. So you've got the haggis and you've got bits of potato in there as well. And just portion it all out. Now, my top tip for this, any leftovers, put them in a frying pan, crisp them up and serve it with a fried egg. Be absolutely amazing. And brown sauce. Haggis and brown sauce is a game changer. Honestly, you will love it. And this will make like a lovely haggis and potato hash that Emily's desperate to try, I can tell.
That's
Brown sauce with haggis and eggs is epic.
wrong. You meant to be a chef.
Honestly. Carlos, you with me on it?
Brown sauce.
And not with the brown sauce. But
Come on. Right. Put your comment. Let's have a little vote. Brown sauce or ketchup? It's got to be brown sauce all the way. You can't put ketchup on this.
if you have to choose one, brown sauce.
Thank you, Carlos. There we go. I'll post that on Instagram later. Right, okay, so let's just fold these over. So fold them over and just pinch them shut. And what I would suggest you do, fold them all, then pinch them all, okay? So that's folded and ready, okay? Don't sort of waste your time. The quicker you get these sealed up, the cooler the pastry will be, the easier it'll be to manage, all right? And the great thing about this is you can freeze these at this point, and then you can just get them out what you need. Put them in the air fryer if you're, if you're an air fryer, is that a word? An air fryer person? If you like your air fryer, if there's just 1 or 2 of you and you fancy these, egg wash them, chuck them in the air fryer, they'll be perfect. But we're going to bake ours in the oven today. So just pinch all these shut, get all those lovely flavours in there. There we go, look at that. You can just encase beautiful flavours inside the empanada as well. Marvellous. There we go. Right. Just, if you get a little bit sticky from the egg mixture, just flour your hands gently and just pinch them shut, okay? Right, it's got a non-stick tray here. So, Masterclass do these ceramic baking trays, and they've got like can you see those little dimples under there, Carlos?
Yeah.
That means a little bit of air is going to get under, because often when you bake things straight onto baking trays, if they're super flat, super non-stick, they steam. Whereas with this, it will still bake because you'll get some air underneath there. So all we're going to do is just make sure everything is pinched. Okay. And then I'm going to chill these back in the fridge again. Okay? Because I want to be able to then crimp them tight so none of the flavors come out. None of the ingredients, sorry, come out. So it's really worth just taking your time. So I'll pop these into the fridge. While the empanadas are resting, I'm going to show you how to make an amazing haggis frittata. Perfect for breakfast. Now it's time to make the most delicious haggis breakfast frittata. We're going to use the famous haggis. I've got some tomatoes, red onions, spinach, and then I've got a bit of Wensleydale cheese left from my Christmas cheese box. So that's going to go in. A little bit of cheese in there gives it richness, makes it absolutely delicious. So get my pan nice and hot. So I've got a cast iron pan there, getting hot, ready. So we're going to start with the red onion first because we need to cook some of that and get it softened, get it going, okay? So you could use a white onion if you wanted to. I've got red in the fridge, so that's what we're going with. It's a little milder, a red onion as well. Okay. So the smaller you cut your onions, the quicker this dish is ready and the quicker you're eating it, okay? So there's your motivation. If you do great big chunks of red onion, it's going to be a while. But if you need a quick brunch or a quick breakfast, this is how to do it. Okay. Haggis and eggs, absolutely made for each other. Such a good combination. If you are ever travelling to Scotland and you're in a hotel, totally have a Scottish breakfast and make sure you get the haggis because it's delicious for breakfast. Not sure I'd have it every day, but, you know, once a year, once in a while is good. Okay, so let's get that pan nice and hot and ready for our onions. A little bit of oil in there. Just enough to get your onions cooking. There we go, that's always a good sound. All right, let's get those in there. Little season. Little bit of pepper, not a lot because the haggis is going in. And pepper is like your primary spice. So a bit of salt in there and that'll draw out the moisture. Right, let's get that going. Now, on to the star of the show, the haggis. So, just break it up. There's some natural fats in here as well. So the idea is that what we're going to do is just break that down. So I'm just going to basically just cut it up roughly just to allow it to break down in the pan. And it will just break down like that. You ought to take some of this home with you, Carlos, to Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Get it all go. Get the family eating this stuff. They might take your passport away if you did that.
Probably.
So let's just break that down. You don't want massive chunks, but this is going to add an incredible flavour that runs all the way through the frittata. Okay, right. So we've got some cherry tomatoes that we're going to cut in half. We're going to add those in a minute, not yet. But while that's cooking, we'll get this prepped up. So slice those in half. Because we just want those to cook and warm through with the eggs as it cooks. Doesn't need to cook much. Spinach is there. We don't need to do anything with the spinach. We'll just add it in a minute. And then we've got our cheese. Now you could use cheddar if you want to, but I'm just using up some Wensleydale in the fridge. And I don't need to grate Wensleydale because it's sort of quite crumbly. It's a cheese. But obviously if you're using cheddar, you'll need to grate it. Okay? So that is ready. Okay. Smelling good. Isn't it, Emily? Right. Do you know what you could also do here? If you didn't fancy a frittata, add some pasta into this. Done that before. I've made the most incredible like pasta dish. You just cook your pasta, and at this point when the onions are cooked, add your drained pasta, add a little bit of starch water from the pasta, and then a bit of parmesan, and you would have an absolute killer dish. Be absolutely delicious. You could then just stir in your spinach and your tomatoes. Lovely. Little bit of Edinburgh meets Rome. Okay. So that is cooked enough for me. Let's get on to the eggs. So, not a lot left to do really. We've got 6 eggs because this is a family frittata. This is going to feed a few people. 2 maybe. Maybe 3. Maybe 3, Emily, what do you think? 3 people eat this? 2.5. 6 eggs, okay? So the recipe is based around like a 6-egg family omelette. You could have this with other things if you wanted to. Okay, so just whisk those together. With a frittata, it's only eggs. Don't add any milk, don't dilute it at all. You just need the eggs. And we don't need the seasoning because it's already in the pan. We've got seasoning, we added a bit of salt, and we've got pepper from the haggis. Okay? Right, let's get rid of that. Okay, so give this a little stir round and then we're pretty much ready. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a space there. All right, I'm going to pour my eggs in. And then I'm going to start to bring the haggis in and mix the two together. Okay, so you get a really nice even distribution. Otherwise you'll just get, you want a little bit of bite on everything, yeah? And then what we're going to do is add our tomatoes and our cheese in. So in with the cheese. So that's, you know, Wensleydale's got a little bit of a tang about it. I think that'll be really nice. Okay, and then we've got some spinach, which we're just going to work in there. So some goodness, some richness, some, you know, vibrant, fresh flavors. Okay. And then all we're going to do is just keep this cooking for about a minute. Then it will go in the oven, okay? And at that point, everything is just going to set lovely. So just sort of push the spinach in. And once the egg's set, that's when it's ready to go. And what I would urge you to do is put this in the oven, bake it, and then put it down on the table when it's cooked and just let everyone tuck in. Empanadas have rested in the fridge, and as they've chilled, they've firmed up, which just makes them a little easier to crimp, okay? So I'll put those to one side, and then all I'm going to do is just, can you see that, Carlos? Do I need to tilt it that way?
No, I can see.
Yeah. Okay, so that will crimp it and just encourage everything to stay inside. So I'll do it again. So I'm just kind of doing that action. Yeah? It's one of those really strange sort of methods that's quite hard to articulate. And it's a very sort of intuitive thing to do. It's just, there is no right and wrong. It's more just about making sure everything sits inside and it just, you could use a fork if you wanted to. That's more than satisfactory to do that. It's no problem at all, as long as it keeps everything inside. That's all that really matters.
Could you hold there 1 second?
Yeah.
So this camera wasn't working. That would be the best camera to show.
Point it to that one.
Yeah, if it
Yep.
goes back to life. I got all the angles, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yep. There we go. I feel like we had an empanada tray once.
You did.
We did, didn't we? Was it Chicago? Gosh, that's a long time ago. I don't even know if that brand's still going. Right, last one. So just pinch it, squeeze it into each other, and that will just hold all the flavours in. And then I'm going to take the remaining beaten egg so they go nice and golden. And also it means that I can add another little bit more flavour on the outside, which I'm going to show you in just a second. Okay, and then I've just to sort of enforce the savoury flavour of this, I've got some dried onion flakes. We're just going to sprinkle them on top, which will give a lovely oniony flavour. You could put it in the middle as well if you wanted to, but I think around the outside will be absolutely lovely. We're going to get these into the oven. We're going to bake them at 170 degrees, probably for about 20 minutes until they're golden and crisp. If you put them in the air fryer, it'll probably take half that time. I'd say 10 minutes at 170, 180 degrees, just until they're crisp. Because everything inside is cooked. It's about getting the empanada pastry nice and crispy. Frittata is ready. Look at that. That looks like proper healthy as well, doesn't it? It's got green in it. It's got red in it. So the cheese has just started to melt. All we need to do now is just take some kind of silicone and just... All I'm going to do is just run around the edges, because it then means when I come to serve this at the table, we can just cut wedges out and people can just grab as much or as little as they like. And because we're using like silicone, I can just bend it round and almost scoop underneath it so that it can come out really, really easily. Are you partaking, Carlos?
Always.
Yeah?
What question is that?
Let's just take a slice. So I'm just going to take a slice out. So literally. And are we going a little brown sauce with this, Carlos, do we think?
Okay, I'll trust you.
That was a big sigh. God, you'd think I worked for the brown sauce agency, wouldn't you? Let's have a little go. So, cake slice, same shape. That's it. Look at that, just comes straight out. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Haggis, spinach, red onion, tomatoes, all wrapped up in 6 beautiful free-range eggs for a delicious brunch. A haggis breakfast frittata. Right. Come on, Carlos, I won't make you have brown sauce. I feel like I'm forcing you. Try it without.
I will.
And then you'll want brown sauce. That's so good. If you have never tried haggis before, try it. Get it in your supermarket, order it online. Try that breakfast frittata. It's super simple. It's absolutely delicious. Empanadas next. Empanadas have been baking in the oven. They are golden, crisp, and ready to go. Oh, look at these. You're going to love these. Look, golden, crisp, and look, super non-stick, because we've used Masterclass is smart ceramic. Is that right, Emily? Smart ceramic baking trays with the little dimples on. Look, comes off super easy. And also, Carlos, can you see that? That is golden and crisp. Now, normally when you bake things, the bottom, it's a soggy bottom. That's what you've got to avoid. With this, with the little dimples on there, air gets around, it crisps up, it caramelizes, and look, a beautiful haggis empanada. And you know what's going next, don't you? For me, brown sauce. All the way. Carlos, I'm going to let you off. Have a try of that. See what you think.
Thank you.
I mean, they're lovely little parcels of just whatever flavour you want. We've gone haggis. It's going to be Burns Night soon. It seemed like a great idea just to introduce you to a new ingredient perhaps to some of you. And that's what Pete Sidwell's Kitchen in 2025 is going to be all about. Teaching you about an ingredient and then applying a couple of amazing recipes to it so that you can then run with it. So sign up for our newsletter, get the recipes delivered to your inbox every Saturday morning about 9:15 while the program's broadcasting, and then you've got them for the weekend. You can cook something amazing like these empanadas.